Okay, I think I have all my council members here. We're running just a few minutes late. The time is 7:35, and I will call the public hearing and regular business meeting of the mayor and council for the city of Snellville, Georgia to order. It is Monday, July the 8th, 2019, and we do have a quorum present. First, we'll have our invocation by City Attorney Tony Powell.
Welcome. Let's pray. Father, we are grateful to be in a place where freedom is celebrated and lived out, and where democracy happens. We don't just talk about it, we lived it tonight, Lord. There are dreams that were shared and plans that were made and excitement around the construction of a town center, Lord. And we just ask you to bless those plans and bless those people and bless those people who will come to construct it, Lord. And we just give you thanks for those who take the time to plan those things. Lord, we are grateful for those who care enough to come participate. And we just ask that you would bless their evening here so that they can see things that are wondrous in that freedom and democracy and experience the real life of that. Lord, we have workers who make the things that we vote on here happen, and we ask you to bless each of them as they work in this community to make it a better place. And Lord, we just give you thanks for your presence with us tonight, and bless this meeting in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Powell. We'll have the Pledge of Allegiance by Planning Director Jason Thompson. Thank you, Mr. Thompson. So now we have no ceremonial matters tonight, so we'll move on to the approval of the minutes. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes of the June 10th, 2019 meetings, the June 24th, 2019 council retreat, and the June 27th, 2019 meetings.
There's a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second. So a motion and a second. All in favor signify by raising your right hand. That is 6 in favor and none opposed. We have no invited guests tonight. We do have a department report. We have Alan Snipes. He's our Assistant Public Works Director, and he will give us an update on Public Works, on the stormwater and resurfacing programs.
Good evening. Snellville Public Works Department is responsible for the management and regulation of stormwater and drainage issues. This includes maintaining the city's aging infrastructure, managing replacement and emergency projects, plus following guidelines and regulations set in the city's stormwater management plan. Each year, we are required to file an annual report documenting our full compliance. This report is revised every few years, adding new guidelines and regulations to follow. These reports are audited by the EPD, so accurate and thorough records are extremely important. Snellville Public Works strives to keep a proactive approach, maintaining the city's aging culverts and drainage structures. Maintenance is crucial to extending the lifespan of these pipes and keeping the systems functioning properly. Routine inspections and having a jet vac truck for sediment removal are vital to maintenance. Although we try to repair or replace systems before they fail, we do encounter situations that are considered emergencies. These are usually pipes that have collapsed, causing sinkholes and blocking water flow. These seem to be occurring more frequently every year due to many of the drainage systems within the city being close to 50 years in use and frequent heavy rains. This fiscal year, we have completed 4 emergency projects and 3 more have appeared within the last few weeks. These are the projects completed and their cost over the last 3 years. For fiscal year 2016-17, we completed 9 projects, of which 3 were emergencies. Total expenditures, $840,416.50. $275,995 of that was for emergency projects. In fiscal year 2017-18, we completed 7 projects, of which 2 were emergencies. Total expenditures, $543,292.36. Of that, $197,140.80 went to emergency projects. Fiscal year 2018-19, we completed 20 projects, of which 4 were emergencies. Total expenditures, $775,010.02. Of that, $172,576.29 were for emergency projects. For fiscal year 2019-2020, we have 11 proposed projects and a budget of $762,000. Resurfacing and repairing the city streets is another responsibility of the Public Works Department. Each year, we evaluate all of the city streets, rating each on a scale from 1 to 5. Stormwater pipe conditions and street condition ratings are used to determine which streets are paved. Funding for these projects comes from LMIG, SPLOST, and Capital. Other expenses associated with resurfacing are street signs and markings such as stop bars, center lines, and crosswalks. These are the resurfacing projects and cost over the last 3 years. For fiscal year 2016-17, 15 streets were paved at a cost of $742,295.02. This covered approximately 2.82 miles. In fiscal year 2017-2018, 9 streets were paved at a cost of $627,837.97, covering approximately 3.49 miles. For fiscal year 2018-2019, we paved 22 streets covering 3.6 miles. Total expenditures was $709,216.94. For this coming fiscal year 2019-2020, the budget is $696,000, and we have proposed 15 streets covering approximately 3.07 miles. That pretty well sums it up there. Any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Snipes? Alan, thank you. Thank you for giving us this update, and I would like to thank you and Gay Johnson, the Public Works Director. The work that you guys do kind of goes under the radar most of the time because it's not seen, and unless something happens or the streets get paved. But you guys really do create the infrastructure and keep it going, and we appreciate everything that you're doing. Thank you.
Good evening.
Okay, next, under department reports, I'd like to make an announcement. This wasn't on the agenda, but tonight I signed the exchange agreement between the City of Snellville and the United States Post Office. Yay! Yeah, go ahead. The council approved for me to go ahead and sign that document once we had the final draft or the final document back from the post office, which we received back this morning, and there were no substantial changes to it from the last draft that we had looked at. This has been a long time coming. We've been working with the post office for close 3.5 years. I was going to say 3 years, so it has been longer. This has been quite a process, quite a journey. But I've signed it tonight. The person that will sign for the post office is out of town until Monday, and he's expected to sign it Monday, July 15th. So that starts our initial date.
Just say it again. Melvin's here.
Oh, we just had Melvin Everson and Joe Wilson walk in. You just missed the big announcement. We signed the exchange agreement with the post office. Yes, go ahead, clap again. But this is a really big deal because this is what has held up the town center from moving forward. Now that we have this agreement in place, we can get back on board with our developer who has been patiently waiting. So we are meeting with him tomorrow, or with that group, to go ahead and get things working there again. So we'll be moving forward with the town center and expect to break ground in 2020. So very exciting times. You won't see a whole lot happening immediately. The first goal will be to get the post office moved. Once this agreement is signed by the post office next Monday, that starts a lot of work, but it'll all be behind the scenes work. There's design, there's construction drawings, then they decide whether they're going to do design build or send out a bid for contractors. So there's a lot of steps that'll happen, but there will be some public hearings that should be coming up in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So just look out for that so that you can come and give your input to the post office about how much you want it in the new location. So very excited about that. So now we will do the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve tonight's agenda, July 8th, 2019.
There's a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Was that Dave? Sorry. There's a motion and a second. All in favor? That is 6-0. The agenda is approved. Now we move on to our public hearing. Our first item on the public hearing is to provide the citizens the opportunity to submit written and oral comments on our proposed 2019 millage rate. Mr. Sanders, you want to give us a quick rundown?
The recommendation from the staff to the mayor and council is to maintain the current millage rate of 4.588 mills. This will allow us to meet our adopted budget number, since we've had good growth in the digest this year. Not as good as last year, but we're somewhere between 5 and 5.5% of digest growth, and $19 million of that is new growth. And so that's still very positive as far as the level of development that's occurring in the community. And our overall, at that 4.588 mills, it allows us to meet our budget projection of right at $4,161,000 in revenue. And so that is our recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Sanders. Now, this is a public hearing, so anyone who would like to speak on the topic of the millage rate, please step forward and give your name and address for the record. So we will continue our streak of no public comment on the millage rate this year. So with that, I see no public comment, so I will close the public hearing and we will move on to the next item on the agenda. The next item is item B. It's second reading ZOA 19-03, consideration and recommendation on a text amendment to section 6.2, definitions, in section 9.10 BG district regulations of the Snellville zoning ordinance, and Article 6, motels, hotels, and extended stay hotels of Chapter 22, businesses of the City Code of Snellville. And is there a motion on this item?
Mayor, I make the motion that we table ZOA 19-03 until our next regularly scheduled meeting on July, I believe it's
22nd. Okay, there's a motion to table this item to July 22nd. Is there a second?
Second.
This is we've been discussing this ordinance for quite a few months here about the hotels and extended stay hotels. Some attorneys were just hired for the in-town suites, and they've asked for some additional time to review the ordinance and its effect on their business. So the council has agreed to postpone this at least until July 22nd to allow them some time to submit some comments. So we have a motion and a second to table. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. That is 6 in favor and 0 opposed. Next, we have item C, second reading CUP 19-03, consideration and action on application by Sam's Real Estate Business Trust for a conditional use permit and request for variances from the zoning ordinance for a Sam's Club Fuel Center on property zoned BG General Business District, 1520 Scenic Highway North, Snellville, Georgia. Mr. Thompson.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, council and public, for being here this evening. I won't take up too much time with a pretty standard, whoa, bird's eye view. It's on Scenic Highway, by the way. All right, just a little better. Here we go to the other extreme. All right, we'll just leave it there. So what you have in front of you tonight is a fuel center with 12 stations that'll be located in the existing parking lot of the Sam's Club Fuel Center located on 1520 Scenic Highway. It's got some undeveloped property to the north, the church to the west, Woodbury and Fars Elementary to the east, and then Walmart to the south. Typical uses adjacent to the Scenic Highway business corridor. They're just three small regulations that they have to adhere by according to our code as far as distances from pumps and tanks, and they've met those, and the responsibility for them to construct so you can kind of see where it's laid out. The northeast corner. The 12-station fuel center with a small kiosk for other goods and things that you typically see at these type of fuel centers. They have requested a couple of variances, one of them being that they be able to construct the actual attendant or retail service portion of it in materials that are similar to what Sam's Club's has now, which is the split face block. They're going to paint it. It seems like a legitimate request given that it'll be more cohesive. The same colors will be used. Everything will match. It's a very small amount, and it's also located on private property where it's only usually seen by patrons of the store. They've also requested that due to the construction of this, they're losing 65 spaces. They'll be under the amount currently required by the code, which is probably way too many anyways. If you've been there, they don't use hardly any of the parking on the portion adjacent to Scenic or further away from the building. I believe those will be better utilized now, so we recommend approval for that. And just here's some of the elevations of what it'll look like. Very similar to the Kroger one that we considered some time ago. We don't have anything else to add except that we recommend approval with 7 conditions as presented in your ordinance tonight, as well as approval of the 2 variances that I just went over as far as allowable building materials and a minimum number of off-street parking requirements to 452 total spaces. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Is there any questions of council for Mr. Thompson? No. Was there a question?
I just want to make sure, I know it's impractical to come in and out any other place but on 124, but I'd like some assurances that there'll be some enforcement of that and we don't have trucks trying to pull out onto Mount Zion.
I just looked at that, and if you look at where Walmart and Sam's docks are, there's trucks already pulling in and out of there all day and all night because that's where they access the property.
Yeah, but they don't drive through. They come in and out through there, but they park in the back.
What's the concern again? Driving the fuel center, the fuel truck
Well,
through
driving
the
the
parking lot?
Yeah.
Like through it? I don't foresee that, but
I don't either, but I know truck drivers.
it's if the easiest way to go is going to be the way to go, and if they had to re-engineer the driveway on the south side to accommodate the fuel trucks, I'm certain that's where they would go.
Okay.
I mean, but there is a lot of commerce already being done on Mount Zion, so they don't go down north most of the time, I would guess. Somebody got that roundabout at some point, but I don't think it was Walmart's people or Sam's.
Anyone else with questions for Mr. Thompson? Is the applicant present? If you'd like to come up and give a presentation or any comments before we open it.
Second reading, and I know that the thing.
If you wouldn't mind coming up to the microphone.
Hello, I'm Steve Kendall with Carlson Consulting Engineers. We're the site designers. I am not the project engineer. He was not able to make it, but I came in to represent him. And from what I understand, the planning department and the owner, the manager are all in agreement that what we've come up here we can do and are delighted in. So I'm here to answer any other questions the best I can, not being the project manager, but I'm delighted, and thank you for hearing the case. Thank you.
Anyone with questions for Mr. Kendall?
I think I'll ask the question that Councilman Emanuel alluded to. Looking at the drawings, it appears from the drawing, the site plan that I'm looking at, where it says lift station, there's a change to the island that's there. I assume that is for ingress egress of the fuel tankers as they come to drop fuel. And Mr. Emanuel's question previously was, is the intent to have the tankers come in off of 124 and therefore leave 124? The way the parking lot is currently laid out, the traffic lines don't match up with the road that the drive that connects at the back of the property past the tire center, and it would be pretty dangerous to try to squeeze a tanker truck through there with folks and everything else. So I
Right.
assume you all wouldn't do that. But
Right. Well, on any of these designs, they have actually a computer program that draws a truck route and make sure, and you can see in some of those plans where they've changed the radius of a few of those islands, and that definitely is where the truck is going to be coming around. And the last plan that I saw, not being the project manager, was that they were going to enter and exit off of 124 down there and not go behind the building. So that's the last one that I saw, and I assume it has not changed based on what I'm looking at here. Yeah.
That makes the most sense,
It
but
does,
I
right.
just want it to be a priority that,
Well, it is definitely a priority when they're laying these out, because that's the big deal, getting that tanker in there at the right direction and out with ease. So 124 is where they're going to come out, I think. Enter and exit, I think. Anything else?
thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Kendall? Thank you, Mr. Kendall.
Thank you.
This is a public hearing, so I will open the floor to public comment. If anyone would like to come forward, either for or against this project, please step up and give us your name and address for the record.
Trisha Rollins, 2088 Harbor Oaks Drive. Same thing we went over with at Kroger. It is a danger to bring a tanker in front of the building or beside the building, and in this case of Sam's Club. You bring, I understand that they're going to come in 124, but it needs to be in writing, okay? Because we were going to bring a tanker down in front of Kroger before. I don't want to see a tanker coming beside Sam's when you got all these people coming in and out the door right there. I think it's a real danger. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rollins. Anyone else?
Marcia D. Ferris, 1749 Ridgedale. You could just put a condition on the property that they have to make sure that they enter and exit off of 124. And that keeps them off of Ridgedale and it keeps them off of North.
Thank you, Ms. Ferris. Is there anyone else that would like to speak either for or against this project? Last call. Seeing none, I will close the floor to public comment. Did anybody else need any clarification from either the applicant or Mr. Thompson? Then is there a motion?
Motion to approve CUP 19-03, adding a condition number 8 that all fuel tank trucks must enter and exit from Highway 124.
Is that it? Do I get it all?
Okay, there's a motion to approve 19-03 with an added condition. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any comments by council? With that, we will call for the vote. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. That is 6 in favor and none opposed. Mr. Kendall, I failed to ask you if you were accepting of those conditions and variances that are.
Without having the actual truck route on the plan that I brought, could I just respond to the condition that you've added, that if we need to alter the curbs on these islands that we've shown here on the plan, if we need to change those, they're able to do that to accommodate that?
Yeah, I think that can be handled
without,
through.
Without changing the plan, if we change the plan, do we have to come back and go through the process again to, like?
If it's a matter of just changing the curbs to allow that access, Mr. Thompson can do that administratively.
We had it all coming out this way, but that was a slightly different layout. On this one, say,
handle that in site development.
well, that's what I mean. We just shouldn't have to come back and go through the
Not
process.
here, no.
Right, okay.
No.
Well, that would be the only
As
thing.
long as you stay out here.
Right, yeah. I mean, once you get this locked in. I know it. They're not going there.
Yeah, they're not.
Right. So I'm sure that we can accommodate that with no problems. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Kendall. Okay, with that, we are approved. So we have nothing on the consent agenda, no old business. We have new business, which is consideration and action on adoption of Resolution 2019-14, which is adoption of the 2019 millage rate. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve Resolution 2019-14, the adoption of the 2019 millage rate.
There's a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any comments by council? Then all in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. That is 5 in favor. Any opposed? 1 opposed. The motion is approved. Next, we have item B, consideration and action on adoption of Resolution 2019-15, which is the resolution for the municipal general election for the city of Snellville, Georgia, to provide for a municipal superintendent, assistant municipal superintendents, absentee ballot clerk, and deputy absentee ballot clerks. What this resolution is doing, this is resolution that we do every year in advance of a city election, and this is naming the time and the location for the general election, which will be here at Snellville City Hall at 2342 Oak Road. It announces the poll times, which are 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The election will be on November the 5th. We'll be electing 3 members of the council, which is the mayor, post 1 and post 2. It sets out the qualifying fees. Voter registration deadline will be October 7th. And then we also name City Clerk Melissa Arnold as the municipal superintendent and absentee ballot clerk. Ariane Stone and Gabriella Downs are appointed as assistant municipal superintendents and deputy absentee ballot clerks. City City Clerk Melissa Arnold is directed to publish the proper advertisements in the legal organ, and then also post any notices and signage. So that's the resolution that we are considering now. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve Resolution 2019-15.
There's a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. That is 6 in favor and none opposed. The next couple of items we have are just nominations and council confirmation for board reappointments. So item C, we have the reappointment of the following Planning Commission Commission board members: Leo Armistead to post 1. All of these have a term expiration for June 30th, 2021. For post 5 is Diane Harrell, and post 6 is Bill Kingsbury. Those are my nominations. I ask for council confirmation. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. That is 6 in favor and none opposed. Next, we have item D, nomination and council confirmation for reappointment for the following Board of Appeals members. On the agenda is number 2, Marilyn Swinney to post 5, and I am removing her because she is moving out of town. It's going to make me cry. But I am asking for confirmation of Whitney Young to post 3 and Marcy Ferris to post 6. Both of their terms would expire June 30th, 2021. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 6 in favor and none opposed. Item E, our nomination and confirmation for reappointment to the Development Authority of Snellville: Dan LeClaire for post 4 and Mark Behrens for post 5. Both of those terms would expire on June 30th, 2023. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 6 in favor and none opposed. Item F is the mayor's nomination and confirmation for reappointment to the Urban Redevelopment Authority. We have one at Mark Behrens for post 6 with a term expiration of June 30th, 2023. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 6 in favor and none opposed. And one more. Item G, nomination and ask for confirmation for reappointment for the Parks and Rec board members. All of these would have terms expiring on June 30th, 2021. We have Carol Vogel Belgrave for post 1, Nicole Irish for post 5, and Darcy King for post 6. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. It is 6 in favor and none opposed. With that, that ends our business meeting, and so we'll go into council reports. Councilmember Todd Warner.
Thank you, Mayor. Tonight, we adopted a millage rate that was slightly higher than the rollback rate, which would have kept our income or your taxes at the exact same level. And I voted in support of that because there's a great pressure upon all of us who are in business right now to increase the wages that we're paying our employees. Also, benefits such as health insurance and things like that are going up dramatically. And in order to meet those costs so we can keep the quality employees that we have here in the city, it was important that we go ahead and slightly raise that tax rate. That being said, there's good news coming. We've got the town center that'll be breaking ground next year. We have the development out at Summit Chase that's going to bring in approximately $100 million worth of new residential that will offset the need for us to have these increases in the future. So you can rest assured that this will be the last time that I will vote for anything except for a stable, solid maintaining of your millage rate or your taxes. Thank you very much. I really want to thank Mayor and Council, the city manager, and the city attorney for the hard work they've done. Y'all would be amazed at the work they have to do behind the scenes in order to keep this place going. So thank you one and all.
Thank you, Mr. Warner. Mr. Marmol?
Kelly, thank you again for an awesome event. I've received a lot of comments and a lot of individual people telling me how great it was, but some of them might not know you, but it's really you doing a lot of the behind the scenes. And then I want to remind everybody, tomorrow is Chick-fil-A Day. Free entree, we dress like a cow. Me and my wife always do it. It's fun, and you get to see a lot of cool cow costumes. So that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Marmol. Ms. Linsky?
1350 Dogwood Road. Did anyone happen to attend an amazing pool party bash on Saturday evening? I knew there had to be somebody. Airbnb short-term rentals have become a concern, and I think it's time to look at this as a city. I'm going to request that we place this as an item for discussion on our next work session. Basically, what's happening is people are either purchasing properties and putting them on Airbnb and short-term rentals, and your residential property is basically becoming a commercial center, a short-term hotel, or perhaps the site of a fabulous party, because it's also become kind of a thing, a trendy thing. I wasn't really aware of this. Guess I'm not too trendy, but to go ahead and get a place on Airbnb and to hold a party and to charge a small fee and to actually make it a profitable business. So it's definitely time to look at this as a city, and we'll begin to do that on July 22nd at our next meeting. So please let us know your thoughts.
Thank you, Councilmember Linsky. Councilmember Schultz?
I just wanted to also thank Kelly for a fabulous July 4th event. I know how much work, I have some idea of how much work she puts into that, and it's just amazing, Kelly, and thank you for caring so much about having a wonderful, wonderful event for us. And I also wanted to mention that the mayor and council all attended the Georgia Municipal Association convention at the end of June in Savannah, and we had the opportunity to attend some really excellent classes. And one that I attended that I found really helpful was called Engaging the Community. I believe that's what it was called, something like that. And it was a 6-hour class, and we learned a lot of different ways to engage community members in what's going on. And one thing I came away from there determined to try, and I did, was do Facebook Live at the farmer's market. And we did it both the first Saturday after we came back from the convention, and then this past Saturday. And I was amazed. This past Saturday, we had 1,300 views of the video that we did. And so I felt like it is helping to engage the community. And several of our vendors told us that they had customers come because they'd seen it on Facebook Live. So that was a very helpful class.
And Mayor Pro Tem Emanuel?
If you think your mail is slow, you ain't seen nothing till you deal with the post office. And I think we need special recognition. Butch and Eric have just done an outstanding job and have kept on it and kept on it. And we're moving. Slowly, but we're moving. And if it hadn't been for their effort, we'd still be wondering what we're going to do next. So how about a round of applause for the people who are making this happen? And I want to second what Todd said about the millage rate. Nobody likes to see their taxes go up, but your expenses go up and so do the cities. So the real decision is, do we maintain what we've got and try to improve it, or do we cut services? And nobody wants to see services cut. So again, we've done some, I think Butch has done some negotiation with people to try to get things down as much as possible, but it gets expensive to run a city, and that increases, as does everybody's expenses. So again, we've got a staff that does excellent work and has excellent fiduciary responsibility.
There are those words again.
Haven't used them in a long time.
And just a note on the budget, with maintaining the millage rate where we did, you will only see an increase in your taxes if your property was reassessed at a higher rate. If your property value did not change in the county reassessment, your taxes will be exactly the same as they were last year. So, and it's not everybody that got reassessed this year. You can see that on the assessment notice that you received, and you'll see it on your bill. They tell you what your value was for the previous year and what it is for the current year. So if those values are the same, your taxes are exactly the same. And another word on that with the budget, if you all remember, 3 years ago, or I guess it's 4 years ago now, our police department salaries were lagging way behind market rate, and we were losing a lot of police officers, had a lot of turnover, and we had the citizens wanting us to do more for our police officers. And so we embarked on a 3-year schedule to increase our police officers' pay, which we did, and we completed that last year. The next initiative that we looked at was for Public Works. We have people that are that work in Public Works, and they're actually literally out in the ditches cleaning out those pipes that we all depend on for our stormwater, and some of them were being paid $10 an hour or $11 an hour. Well under market rate. And so we also worked to improve their salaries to something that was livable. So we have done a lot with not rewarding, but allowing our employees to earn a wage that was somewhat commensurate with the type of work that they're doing. So that is one of the things, once you give out those wages, that's an ongoing cost. We can't then go back and reduce what we're doing. It comes up in other areas that you have to reduce in the budget then. But I think those were important things that we needed to do. Since then, our police department turnover has stabilized, and I think it has as well in the Public Works Department. So I think those were good initiatives that we undertook, and that was part of the impetus of keeping the millage rate where it was. We've been able to do that without increasing the millage rate. Part of that is because the economy is coming around, property values are going up, and we've had a lot of new commercial development and a lot of new housing come in, which also helps support the digest, so that we don't have to increase people's taxes because we're making the pie bigger. And so that's always a good thing when we're talking about taxes. And just another note too, I was honored to be able to speak at a dinner, the honors or the award dinner for Kappa Lambda Chi. It's a military fraternity that was formed in 2013. It is nationwide, and in fact, they have a few chapters overseas. But this is a military fraternity that's open to any active duty, reserves, retired military, and it's also in conjunction with a sorority of for retired military or active military for females. And they were both there. The sorority and the fraternity were there. This was their annual convention, which was held at the Hyatt Regency downtown. It was a 3-day convention, and I was there the Saturday night for their awards and got to say a few words. But it was just really an honor to be able to stand up in front of that group of people, people that are out there serving our country or who have served our country. I talked to one family, one of the founders of the fraternity. He's married to one of the founders of the sorority. They were both retired Army. One served 21 years and one served, I think, another 20 or 25 years. And their daughter served 10 years in the Army as well. So truly a military family. But a great group of people. It was really a great event, and I was pleased to have been asked to be there. And again, as everyone else has said, thank you, Kelly, and thank you for STAT for the beautiful day. Luckily, we had some rain around, but never here in Snellville, thank goodness. But an awesome job was done. Everything looked great. We had a great crowd, and it was a great event. And also, thank you to Gretchen and Kurt Schultz for inviting the council to come out and walk in the Nob Hill 4th of July parade around their neighborhood. So that was a lot of fun. And we even had a special appearance by Stat the Cat. So that was a lot of fun to be in that neighborhood parade. With that, I will close my report and we will open the floor to public comment. If anyone would like to say anything, you got 5 minutes. Come on up and give your name and address for the record.
It is time to go. Marilyn Swinney, 1832 Glenwood Lane, Snellville, Georgia, until July 19th. I just wanted to thank you. In 2004, I came to Snellville, and I decided to go to a council meeting because they were going to talk about alcohol. And from that, I got involved. And I, all of a sudden, was with the Citizens Police Academy, the Farmers Market, STAT, Board of Appeals, and then I was able to sue the city and win. And I just wanted to tell you that this is the end of one chapter, and I am going to a new chapter in Greenville, South Carolina. And I have very mixed emotions. I've made a lot of good friends, and I'll be back, so get your guest rooms ready. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Marilyn, and I will say you will be missed, so you better come back often. Anyone else? Seeing none, then I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
There's a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Second. There's a motion and a second. All in favor? 6-0. We're done. Thank you all for coming out. Be safe going home.